Hello, hello, my love. I hope this finds you doing exactly how you are doing. I hope this finds you in a place of self-compassion, self-care, self-love, self-trust, and acceptance of your perfect nervous system, your magnificent inner children in this moment. I wanted to record something to connect with you about the overturning of Roe v. Wade last week. And I want to also name that there was a voice in me that came up this morning and quite frankly every day this week that said, you should record that thing. You should speak to your beautiful, amazing, feminist people about what a blow this is for humanity, for our bodily autonomy, our bodily dignity, and especially to those communities most marginalized by white settler colonialism, late-stage capitalism, and the patriarchy, those living in identities oppressed by and marginalized by these systems, BIPOC folks, queer folks, trans folks, low-income folks, disabled folks, fat folks. And every day my nervous system said, not yet. Be with it, integrate it, sit with it. And there was that voice in the back of my head that said, but Vic, come on, talk to the people, share the message. And I honor that voice, that protector within me. It's just trying to get me to do what it believes is right. And now, having done all the work I've done, doing the work I do every day to honor myself, I've chosen to listen to my nervous system that said, not yet, integrate. Be with the feelings instead of hopping to talking about the feelings. And here I am, having done so much somatic work to get present to the complexity of feelings within me. I feel ready to speak to you and to let you know that all the big feelings you are having are normal, are natural, make sense, are an appropriate reaction and response to living in this most challenging of moments. And if you're feeling numb, that's normal too. If you're feeling checked out, like you just want to watch TV and eat pizza, and there's nothing wrong with those things. I'm just saying, if you want to be checked out, if your nervous system is saying, hey, babe, don't be present, this is too much, just know that that's normal too. And if you're ping-ponging from sympathetic, from overdrive, from anxious, from worried, from powerless to the powerless feeling of dorsal, of freeze, of checkout, know that that's normal too. I want to say this, and I want to say it clearly. This ruling, Roe, and everything that came before, all the attacks on LGBTQ++ identities, all the decisions that have come down lately and will be sparked by this overturning of Roe. These decisions, they are meant to dysregulate us. That's their primary goal, is to do the work of attempting to take us out of our power, to make us feel powerless in the face of these massive decisions. And I want to invite you to sit with that if you're feeling it, to honor it, to give yourself the gift of saying, of course I do, of course I feel that. To be present with that in your body, to move with it, for it, from it. To put some music on and dance it out. To let it have space and attention and love and care within your human form instead of shoving it aside. Instead of buffering against it, I want to invite you to consciously distract if your body needs that. And there's an episode all about that if you're like, what is that? And when you're ready, bring in thought work. Bring in somatic practices. Recognize that the most powerful gift of thought work is to recognize that we don't have to believe our own thoughts. We don't have to borrow the thoughts of anyone on this planet, the Supreme Court, our legislators, or your best friend's thoughts, or your racist uncle's thoughts, your misogynist aunt's thoughts. You don't have to borrow anyone else's thoughts or feels. You get to decide. using your beautiful, amazing, powerful prefrontal cortex, that executive function part of your brain. You get to decide how you want to think and feel about this moment in time. You get to decide, I am not going to choose to be powerless. I am going to choose to be an ally, a co-conspirator in this work. I am going to choose to donate if you're financially able, to engage in activism, maybe for the first time, or maybe it's what you've always done, but with a renewed power or from a place of bodily dignity, right? Because we can choose through somatic practices to connect with our bodies, to listen to our bodies, to honor the brilliance, the intelligence, the wisdom of our bodies, and to not allow this decision to derail us from bodily connection, but rather to reinvigorate us, to empower us, to go inward and to connect with the power that has always and will always live within us, to agitate, to step into powerfulness, to choose our own adventure. And I know it's challenging. And so we start with resourcing our nervous system to connect in with the things that help us to feel present, grounded, and at home in our bodies, especially when our minds begin to spin out. Because that's what they'll do. That's a brain's job. It's natural. It's normal. Nothing's gone wrong here. There's no problem if your brain is spinning out. And I'll invite you to meet that spin with the body, to come back into the soma, to put your feet on Pachamama, on the earth, to ground in, to attune to your breath. Let's do it together. Slow breath in, long, slow out. It's the long, slow out that brings us into ventral vagal, to parasympathetic, to connect in with your body. And from there to connect into community with the people who can provide co-regulation for your nervous system, who can support you with love and care, the people who get you, who get it. I want to support you as well with some resources. Episode 135 is all about nervous system resourcing, and you can find episodes easily by going to victoriaalbina.com/the episode number. So here, 135. Bada boom. There you go. I also want to remind you that this is not a moment to feel alone. When we feel alone, when we feel isolated, when we feel disconnected, that's when we slip into those dark and murky waters of feeling powerless. And when we connect with community, with the collective rage, sadness, horror, and frustration of it all, the collective power that we have with the tidal wave of power that is coming for those who want to say we don't have bodily autonomy, we don't have bodily dignity. When we connect in with that, we connect in with massive power. This is not a time for rugged individualism. It's not a time to go it alone. It's a time to reach out and to connect from that deep sense of being resourced, being present in ourselves, because we are most supportive to ourselves, our families, our friends, our chosen family, our loved ones, our community, the collective, the world, from a resourced nervous system. And I want to remind you that you are not a better activist, a better member of your communities, a better feminist for overloading your nervous system. Not at all, my love. Refreshing the SCOTUS blog every 2 seconds to find out about the latest horrors doesn't serve you. I'm not saying to just detach and not know what's up. Obviously not. But I'm saying to titrate the flow of information into your body and to allow yourself to integrate yesterday's fresh hell before you take on today's garbage fire. Garbage fire doesn't mean a dumpster fire, full on dumpster fire, right? Allow your body to regulate. Go to nature, go to your friends, be with animals. If you don't have a pet, borrow one. I walk up to people on the street all the time and ask if I can pet their dog, if I can snuggle that sweet snout, because it does my nervous system good. And when my nervous system is regulated, again, I'm here for the fight. I'm here for the work. I'm here to support you, to support the folks in Anchor, to support this community, right? To help us to reconnect with our powerfulness. And if from your codependent thinking, your perfectionism, your people pleasing, some part of you is saying, I have to do this perfectly. I have to post the perfect thing, make the right donation, say the right thing, teach that uncle of mine exactly why he's so wrong in the most perfect way to change his mind. I have to fix it all right now. I want to say, of course you're thinking and feeling that. That's part and parcel of our programming. That's how we do. This is us. And you don't have to do that any longer. You can give yourself the grace. You can slow it down. You can back it up. And you can let your feet be on the floor, on the ground, right here, right now. And can take the small, intentional, thoughtful steps you can take to help change things in this country, on this planet, starting locally with your own communities. One of the things that happens when we do get overloaded, overwhelmed, flooded in our nervous system is we want to buffer. Of course we do. We want to turn away from it all. And again, turn the TV on and just disappear. And I get it. I honor that. And it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve anyone. So turn the notifications off on your phone. You don't need to know exactly what happened in the millisecond it did, unless that's literally your job, right? If you're in direct response, we need to have a different conversation. But if you're not, and your nervous system needs to integrate, I want to invite you to check out episode 105, Conscious Distraction. It's the opposite of buffering, and it's a beautiful tool to give yourself when it all feels overwhelming in your body. Conscious distracting is when we let ourselves rest, give our nervous system space to integrate. It can look the same as buffering, but it's not. It's a conscious, intentional choice to step away. And if your mind is catastrophizing, which again is all too normal, an episode to support you is number 134. And finally, I'll offer this, episode 172. Showing up for you and your nervous system in tragedy. I wrote that and recorded that just a few weeks ago after this string of mass shootings. And it's all too applicable now. In that episode, I teach you the skill of pendulation, going from a resource to the upsetting thing, back to a resource, back to the upsetting thing, and giving your nervous system time and space to regulate and integrate in between. So it's not all tragedy, drama, terror. It's a little bit of that met with puppies. A little bit of that met with lying on the earth. A little bit of that met with connecting with another human. A little bit of that met with connecting with yourself. It's important work. It's vital work. Your nervous system needs it. We need you to regulate your nervous system, to show up in your wholeness, in your powerfulness from embodiment. We need you to show up with a managed mind, because continuing to spin and this is terrible, this is the worst, everything's ruined gets us nowhere. Yes, acknowledge what's going on, obviously. And from there, manage your mind around it. Remember that you do get to choose the next thought, not in some gaslighting bullshit kind of way. I'm not out here being lie to yourself and look for some silver lining, right? I mean, that's never what I'm out here saying. Life is 50-50, 50% suffering, 50% glory. And you get to manage your mind around all of it. So you don't get stuck in the mire. You don't get pulled into the quicksand. Because that's when they win. And we're not out here to let them win. We need you, my darlings. We need you in your embodiment, in your power with a managed mind to be part of the solution. And if you're unsure of what to do, regulate. And from there, offer to co-regulate with someone you love. Which could be a hug if they're available for touch. Get consent, please. Get consent from yourself and from them. It can be going to marches, signing petitions, and if you are able, donating. The two organizations I want to highlight are the Bridget Alliance, BRIGID Alliance.org. They are an abortion support fund. They help pay for all the incidentals that are vital to help folks get to abortion care, travel, hotels, food, right? And as humans with uteruses are going to need to travel so much further to get abortions, now their work is more important than ever. And I want to give a shout out to Odile, who runs Bridget and her whole team. They are amazing. And I want to remind you that before they came for Roe, they came for LGBTQ++ rights, and they're still coming for us. So I want to encourage you, if you're able, to donate to Equality Federation. EqualityFederation.org is their website. They have been doing amazing work for the last 25 or 30 years on the ground in the States. Groups like HRC are, well, I'm not even going to get into it, but they get massive amounts of funding from huge corporations. Equality Federation is boots on the ground in the States, helping them to work on everything from school board elections, stopping the banning of books, library boards, sheriffs. I mean, they're that and working on state legislation. They do amazing work. I could go on and on and on. I'm a donor for them. I volunteer with them. They're magical. EqualityFederation.org. Those are the two places I am sending my money right now. And again, if you're able, join us. And if financially that's not available to you, post about it on social media, share it with your friends, share it with your family. Even sending $5 helps, right? And above all, know that whatever you are feeling is what you're feeling, and you don't need to change it. You get to be with it. You don't need to regulate your nervous system until your nervous system is ready to be regulated. Honor yourself. Honor what you're feeling. Honor your inner children in all their complexity and beauty. And when the time is right, start to slowly find your way back into ventral vagal. Start to manage your mind. Start to choose the thoughts you want to think on purpose and find the somatic bodily resonance of them to support yourself. We're in this together, and together we'll continue to fight. Because my beauties never forget that when one of us heals, we help heal the world. And the more regulated we are in our nervous systems, the more we are able to manage our minds, the more we are able to stand up for injustice and to fight for equal rights and bodily dignity for us all. Thank you for listening, my darling. I'm sending you massive amounts of love, care, and compassion. Be gentle. Be kind to yourself and those you love. Talk to you soon.